Hey everyone, and welcome to Hooked on Needles and Crafts. Today we're going to be doing another itty bitty knit kit that I got from Five Below. For my returning subscribers, thank you so much for tuning in. And for my new viewers, please consider subscribing, share, hit that like button, leave a comment below, and click on that notification bell for future videos. So today, you guys, we are going to be doing another itty bitty knit kit from Five Below, and we are going to be working on the corn dog. This one is a viewer request. I do have several viewer requests. I haven't been able to reply as of yet because I am on a business trip and I am totally filming this in the hotel room. So this is a different setup. It's not that great. Lighting's not that great. And for some reason, this desk is not cleaned after I left today. Not that it was clean to begin with. But anyway, that's another video on a separate channel. But anyway, I'm not doing it. Okay, so we're doing another knit kit. If you have any requests, leave a comment below. Most of the time I have to find these either on their website or at the store, and legit, you guys, because I've had so many requests for both Five Below and Dollar Tree, I've been driving around this area out of state to look for those kits, and I haven't found a lot of the ones that you guys are asking for. I mean, I just saw a comment today asking for an ocelot. I mean, I thought that was a Pokemon. I don't know what's going on here, but if you don't want to wait for me to find it, try to send me a clear image of the instructions via email, and that information is on my channel, and I can try to help you out with that. All right, so before we start getting to this, I know you just want to get into this. I did want to mention I have, if you're on this channel here, I do have another channel that I'm going to be leaving in the description box. I am trying to split the two because they're two different things. I normally wouldn't bring it up, but I think you guys could really benefit from this. I am holding a giveaway. It is like a football giveaway. It's 18 weeks. We're already in week 2. You can always go in and start entering. It is a choose what team is going to win their game, and the person who makes more winning choices will end up winning the giveaway. So, you know, even if you hop in week 3, there's still opportunity to win because, you know, unless someone ends up picking the right team every week, you still have, you know, a chance to win yourself. And then if there is a tie, I am throwing those names into a wheel and selecting at random. So what you're going to get is some goodies, and then you're going to be getting, a gift card, and then on top of that, a 1-hour one-on-one session to go over any projects that you may be stuck on. They don't have to be anything from my video even. So if it's a crochet or a knit question, I may be able to help you, or at least walk you through something. So I think that you would benefit from having the 1-hour one-on-one session, and you can plan it whenever you can. You know, there's no time limit or anything like that. And so, like I said, I am going to leave the that information in the description box below. You can hop on over, subscribe. You have to be a public subscriber to win this giveaway. So what that channel is all these videos on top of nail videos, and eventually I am going to split them up so that they're separate. This is just a pilot channel, and it has the same videos as the other channel, so there won't be any confusion. All right, now 5 minutes in this video. Let's open up this box. We're doing the corn dog. It looks fairly simple, but it's like cylindrical, so that's a little concerning for me with knitting. But I found in some of these projects that look cylindrical, they just end up sewing it to look round. In the real world of knitting, if you are a beginner, there's 3 needles that you're going to need to make a circle. It's very cool, but very not beginner-like. All right, so this is what you're going to get in the box. You have a couple spools of yarn. You have a felt tip. You have a felt sticker. This, I guess, is the ketchup swirl. You have a plastic needle. Even though it's plastic, it's still sharp. Be careful. You have the felt eyes and mouth, and then you have the plastic knitting needles, and then it looks like you get the little stick for the corn dog, and as well as the stuffing. So let's crack into this. You also get a booklet. I like this booklet because it's very informative. It shows you how to do all of the stitches that you need and explains things very well. But I also like that it comes with its own ruler, so you don't have to go and find a ruler. Alright, so now we're going to look into this packet here. Always gets a paper packet, and the paper packet comes with the stuffing. Again, it comes with the knitting needles. Oh, it looked like a stick in the picture, but it's a popsicle stick. Plastic needle, and then you get your felt eyes, and then the felt squiggly came out with it, but it came out with it because it got into the stickiness of it, so that's a little unfortunate, but the squiggly line is intact. All right, let's set this stuff aside. I'm going to put the stuffing back into this bag because this room is a little something else, I'll tell you. Oops, hit my camera, that's normal. Alright, so left in here is probably the spools of yarn. We have the yellow, and we have some sort of off pink. It looks like watermelon color. Okay, why would that be the bottom? I've never seen a corn dog like that, but then again, I'm not a fan of corn dogs. I just find it a little too sweet for me. Alright, so now that we have our materials that we need, let's just crack into this instructional booklet. If you'd like to make this for yourself, I highly recommend that you get this kit because I won't be showing everything. I'll show you how to start stuff. If we get into the way of things, I'll explain that. If you need to speed up or slow down the video, go ahead and click on the gear button. There's playback options to go fast or slow. If you need to not listen to me talk, lower the volume on your device, and then there's a CC closed caption button. Alright, so what we're going to be working on, oh, and I'm loving this. It looks like one square. Alright, so we are going to start with, we're going to start with the red. They're calling this red. Alright, we won't need it. Okay. Sometimes you need stitch markers, and you know what? I don't think we're going to need it for this one, so they don't even pack them for you anyway, so. Alright, so untie your red, right? Now I'm going to show you guys how to do a slip knot onto your needle. So what you're going to do is measure out the tail length that the instructions tell you to do. Oh geez, and then we're going to measure out by laying the yarn on the ruler. 10, let me see. Okay, and this is again a different setup, so I can't really see everything. I'm trying not to hit my camera stand. All right, so I happen to be a lefty. But what you want to do is the way that I'm holding it, you want to kind of just change up the position of your thumb and finger. So what I'm going to do on my end, we're going to take the tail and let it droop off down this way. And then we're going to take the feeder yarn, and you want that to be up and away from you. So I'm going to just switch hands here, keeping the mark for where the tail is supposed to be. And I'm switching it back again because, like I said, the way that I was holding it, you just want to flip it so that here is the feeder yarn. It's free to do whatever. The tail yarn is down here, out of the way. You want to maintain this pinch. You don't want to lose that mark because that's the measurement that they ask you to have to start with. So I'm going to show you now how to do a slip knot. And this one's fairly easy. What we're going to do is take your middle and ring finger and we're going to hold apart the yarn just like this. So like I said, keep this nice and tight. This one here can be a little loose because what we're going to do is we're going to pull up on our 2 fingers. So we want to have some give so that we can pull that feeder yarn to where we need it to be. So take your 2 fingers. Let's push up on this yarn here. I'm just going to start rotating my 2 fingers and twisting it to get this loop here, like that. Then you want to take your index and middle finger and just pinch the feeder yarn, and then you're going to pull it through that loop that you made. Oops. So let me just show you that again because I let go of it by accident. So this part's loose, this part's tight, 2 fingers up. You just want to twist down. Then you want to take your index and your middle and pinch the feeder yarn, and you want to pull it through that loop. So now we have something that looks like this. So this is now your knot for your slip knot. You want to push it down towards your thumb so that you can tighten this up. So this part here that's closest to the knot, I'm going to pull and I'm going to push. So pull the yarn and push it down towards your thumb. That way we can stay true to the tail dimension that the instructions gave you. So keep pulling and pushing till that knot becomes tight enough to where you can't push it anymore. Then, just to have a little bit more snug of a knot, I'm just going to take the tail and pull it out just a little bit. You can feel it move just a little bit. You don't need to go crazy because it just needs to be snug. So now I'm going to hold the knot here, or in this hand if you're a righty. But what you want to do is grab the feeder yarn and you want to pull it so that the loop is more manageable. You know, having a big loop is going to be a difficult thing to work with. So let's pull this a little small so that you can fit your needle through the loop. And you can, after you slip your needle on, you can tighten it up a little bit more. Not too tight because you want to be able to stick the other needle in there. But that's how you do your slip knot. So then we can move on to the next steps. All right, so now for this next step, I'm going to show you how to do this 2 ways. And I'm showing you this 2 ways because the way that I do it is, it could be difficult for some people. I mean, eventually the way that I do it is how you're going to be doing all the future rows. But if you are just struggling and you cannot start this, then maybe this way will be a better way. So I'm going to do a few stitches on here, doing it the easy way, and then I'm going to remove it and then do it my way, and I'll explain why. So here you have your slip knot, and then we have to cast on the number of stitches that the instructions say. So let me show you how to do this first with your hand, and then I'm going to show you how I do it with 2 needles. So take the feeder yarn. Okay, keep the tail yarn here always. So you're going to take the feeder yarn, 2 of your fingers, right? Like we did before, you're just going to turn it down and create this loop. And then what I'm going to do is throw it up on the needle. So I made that twist. I'm just throwing it up on the needle and then tightening it. So that's how easy that is. Okay, then you do it again. 2 fingers underneath, turn it down to make that loop, and then throw that loop onto the needle and tighten it up. All right, let's do this again. 2 fingers, turn it down, make a loop, throw it up on the needle, and then tighten the needle. 2 fingers, turn it down to make a loop, throw that loop up on the needle, and then tighten it. All right, let's say one more time. Lift your 2 fingers, turn it down to make a loop, throw that loop up on the needle, and then you tighten it up. All right, so I'm going to show you why I don't do that. So you start out here. I didn't put too much slack on here, so this one's off, and that's going to happen. You know, especially if you're a beginner, don't expect to have perfect stitches. That's fine. The more you practice, the better you're going to start having your stitches look more uniform like these last 3. Now, the reason why I don't do this, I'm going to show you just, you know, I will show you how to do the next steps, but let's make pretend I already did, because I want to show you what happens when you do knit stitches like this. It is easy to throw up. You're just going to have a lot of slack, though, at the very end. So I'm going to show you an example by doing a few knit stitches. Again, I'll show you how to do this after we cast on our stitches here. I just wanted to jump ahead so that you can decide what you want to use. You can use this way or the 2 needle way. All right, so I'm going to throw up some stitches now. Let's first of all not split the yarn in half. Okay. All right, so after this first one, you're going to see there's a big space in between the 2 needles, like this. And that's just naturally going to happen. And I don't like it, you know, because by the time you get down here, it's going to be a little loose. So I like to have things as uniform as it possibly can get. And look, it only grows bigger because you are knitting more. And it's starting to tighten up on this side, which is, it's okay as long as it's not too tight, but it's leaving a bigger gap. So as you do this, you're starting to get a bigger and bigger gap, and that all gets left behind in this last stitch. So I'm going to keep doing this. But you're going to see at the very end here, you get all that remaining slack. So that when you do the last one, you just get some weird, overly extra loopy down here. So, and then you continue on your rows. So it may not be too terrible to leave, you know, it's not like it's a huge loop. But it's unsightly to me, so I don't do it that way. Now I'm just going to undo this real quick, and I'm going to show you the way that I was taught and how I do it, and the way that you're eventually going to do the rows. So might as well start right off the bat doing it. So we're going to use the 2 needle method to cast on stitches onto your needle. So what you're going to do is slip your 2nd needle through the loop. Now, this project uses knit stitches. A knit stitch is the basic stitch of knitting, one of them at least. So this is going to be very easy. If once you get down this stitch, that's all the stitching, the type stitching you're going to use for this project. So once I show you how to do this, in theory, you should be able to complete the whole thing. All right, so you stuck your 2nd needle in here. A knit stitch position is like this. You want to make an X. The right needle is going to be behind the left needle, okay? And that's how you do a knit stitch. If it's the other way, if this right needle ends up becoming in the front, then you can't do a knit stitch. You have to do another one. So it's the rules, you know. So in your knit position, right needle in the back, left needle in the front. And when you feed your feeder yarn, it's always going to be in the back for a knit stitch. When you do a different stitch, sometimes you have to have it start in the front. But this one, the knit stitch is always going to have the feeder yarn in the back. And when you're in the back, what you want to do is it's a counterclockwise motion. So when you yarn over, you're going to go back to forward around the right needle like that. Okay, so when we start casting on our stitches, you have to do a yarn over. Just make sure that when you do the yarn over, you're always going from back to forward. So in saying that now, let's do a yarn over. Let's show you how to do a knit stitch. So yarn over, we're going to go back to forward around the back needle or right needle. You always want to keep your needles touching. Okay, they should always be in contact. But now I'm just going to slip this down and you'll feel a little snap just because you want to get it trapped in between the two needles. Okay, so let me show you that one more time. So you're here. This is how you start with your X position. We're going to go back to forward and down around the right needle, and you're going to feel it snap. So you can get it trapped in between these two needles. So now what we're going to do, you have that feeder yarn trapped. We're going to slide the left needle over the right needle and back, and that's going to force the feeder yarn through this loop, and that's how we're going to create another stitch. So slide the left needle over the right needle, and you see it's pushing that feeder yarn. Keep the needles constantly touching. It forced the feeder yarn right through this loop, and now it's left onto your needle here. So what we're going to do is we're going to transfer this loop onto this needle. So take your left needle, stick it through the loop on the right needle. Did I do that? Nope. Yeah, slip it onto the left needle, and then we're going to remove it off the right needle like that. So now we have two loops on our left needle. So let's do this again, you guys. So take your right needle, we're going to slip it through the new loop just like this. You want to get into your knit position, which is an X. Right needle in the back, left needle in the front. You want to take your feeder yarn, should be in the back. You want to go counterclockwise, back to front and down. You're going to feel it snap because now it's trapped in between these two needles. Always keep your needles touching. We're going to slide the left needle over the right needle and back. And when you do this, you're going to see that that right needle is going to push the feeder yarn through the loop. If you maintain contact, you should not be losing this yarn here. So make sure you always keep contact with the two needles. So now it's creating its new loop around the right needle. And now we just have to move it over to the left needle. So take your left needle and slip it through that loop and lift it off the right needle. And so now we have three loops on our left needle. So let me show you this one more time, you guys. So put your needle into the new loop on this left needle here. Get into your knit position, right needle in the back, left needle in the front. Make sure your feeder yarn is in the back. We're going to go back to front and down. You're going to feel it snap. Get it trapped between the two needles. Always keep the two needles touching. We're going to slide the left needle over the right needle, and that's going to push the feeder yarn through that loop. And if you keep it touching, you should not lose it. But now we have a new loop around the right needle. We're just going to move it onto the left. So take your left needle, slip it through that loop, and lift it off the right needle and pull to make it snug, not too tight, but now we have the 4 stitches onto our needle. So moving forward, we're going to do the number of stitches that's required for this first set of instructions. If you have to rewind, do that now. But see how there's not much waste. It's more close together, and you're going to get more uniform stitching doing it this way than doing it with your 2 fingers. And the thing is that you're gonna have to do it with 2 needles for here on out anyway. So like I said, it's better off that you just start off this way too. Alright, when I come back, we're gonna complete this. I'm gonna do it in silence. Again, you can just rewind and keep playing it until you feel comfortable casting on your stitches, but let's move forward. All right, now we have all of our stitches onto our left needle. And once we have this done, let me just talk about the stitches. So whenever you start a new row, for righties, you're going to have your stitches on your left needle like this, and your right needle is empty. When you are complete doing a row, your stitches are going to be on your right needle, and your left needle will be empty. So a little rule of thumb if you're not sure what side you're supposed to start in. So now that we're starting a new row, all our stitches should be on our left needle. I'm going to show you how to start a new row. So we're going to take our right needle and we're going to slip it into the first stitch here like we do when we were casting on our stitches. This time we're going to do the same knitting position, right needle in the back, left needle in the front, but we're going to start our new row. So again, with the feeder yarn, we're going to go counterclockwise, back to front and down around the right needle. You'll feel a snap. We're going to slide the left needle down the right needle and around the back here, maintaining contact with the needle so that the right needle pushes the feeder yarn through the loop like this. Now before, when we're casting on needle stitches, we would take this loop and put it on the left needle. We're no longer doing this for a new row. For a new row, we are taking the number of stitches on here and transferring it to the right needle. So what we're going to do at this point, once you've got this new stitch around your right needle, we just have to remove this stitch off the left needle. Okay, so how you do that is you're just going to slip it right off, just this one, like that. So however number of stitches you started on this side, you should have the same number of stitches on this side. So now we have one. Let's do another one. Stick your hook into the next stitch here, knitting position. We're going to go back to forward and down. You're going to feel a snap. You want to trap that in there. Maintain contact with your needles. We're going to slide the left down the right needle and over the tip, forcing that feeder yarn through the loop. Then we're going to keep this loop on this needle, but we're going to remove this loop off the left needle. So slide that off just like that. So now we have 2 stitches on the right needle, and we have these minus 2 stitches. Okay, let's do this one more time with you guys. Stick your hook into the next stitch, get into your knit position, right needle in back, left needle in the front. We're going to take our feeder yarn and go back to front around the right needle and down. You're going to feel a snap. Trap that yarn in between the needles. Always maintain contact with each needle. And we're going to slide the left over the point on the right and back, forcing the feeder yarn through the loop. And then we're going to slip this stitch off the left needle like that. So now we have 3 stitches on the right, and on this side we should have 3 less stitches on the left. Alright, so you can stop here, rewind the video as many times as you feel comfortable, even if it's all the way to the end, to do this. But I'm going to move forward in silence, and we're going to go complete this whole row, and then we're just going to come back in, and I'm just going to explain a little bit on what to do next. Okay, so I completed this whole row, and I know I'm done with the row because I have no more stitches on the left needle and I have all my stitches on the right needle. Now that is it, you guys. These kits are, in theory, easy once you understand how to do the knit stitch, once you understand how to get through the rows. So again, rewind this video as many times as you need to get this, but once you get it, I promise you, it will, get easier to complete these kits. And it takes a lot of practice in general, so I highly recommend doing that. So once we're here, we have to start a new row, but like I said, we have to have all our stitches on the left needle. So how do we do this? Very easy. We're going to flip this needle so that this ball point here is going to be on the left side. So like you see in my video, have that ball point to yourself, go around and end up on the left, and that's it. Swap needles. So now our left needle became our right needle and our right needle became our left needle, and then you're now looking at the back. There's no, sometimes they'll specify what is back and front, but in this case, since it's all knit stitch, at the end of the day you can kind of see what's the back side, but we're not going to be worrying about that right now. So that's it, you guys. You've completed one row, and to do the next row, it's the same instructions as the last row. So you just stick your needle in here. You're going to do your knit stitch like we did before. Slip off the left needle, and then you just continue down the row, and then you're going to do it all over again with flipping. So that's pretty much it. So like I said, rewind the video from here, you guys, and then do it as many times as you need to get comfortable. But what I'm going to do now, we know we completed row 1. The instructions say, for the red at least, to do how many rows. So keep count of how many rows you're doing with the red. I'm going to pop back into this video, and then we're going to show you how to switch colors, because we're starting off with red, but then we have to go on to the yellow. Alright, so from here on out, I'm going to be doing this in silence, and then we'll pop back in when we're ready to switch colors. So I'm short 2 rows, unless they're saying that the first stitches, cast on stitches, is 1 row, then maybe I'm just short 1 row. But currently in my mind, I think I'm short 2 rows. So this is how much yarn I have left. It's not going to be enough to do 1 more row, believe it or not. So I'm just going to leave this as is. Comment below, let me know how you did with the red, if you're able to do as many rows as they ask. I've hit this road a number of times, and it's disappointing, but hopefully it doesn't make too much of a difference. So hopefully you made it with all your yarn. If not, let's just move on to the next step here. So we have our yellow yarn. What I like to do, I love getting the spools like this. They're full spools, and you can get into the center in here and just grab a chunk of yarn. If you're lucky enough, you'll be able to get the other end out fairly quickly. I can kind of see it right here. So if you pull out chunks of yarn, don't get discouraged. You're going to use it up anyway. If this was done correctly, you won't be getting into much of a trouble here, but I'm seeing that there's a knot somewhere inside here that it's not pulling like it normally would. Even if it was a big chunk, the way that it's pulling, it's not pulling right. So there must be a tangle in here. But the idea is, hopefully your chunk isn't as big as mine. But when we're done using this in our project, thereafter we can just pull this, and you don't need to worry about anything rolling around. You can put like a light paperweight on here, a remote control, I don't know, so that at least it's stable, because these are so small, if you pull it, it'll pull with it. But anyway, I'm just going to place something on it here, and then we're going to move on with getting this situated. Oh, and look at that. So here is our issue. This is the first time it's happened. Usually they tie new spools together. So in manufacturing, they have a huge spool, very large, larger than what I'm making with my hands right now. They'll roll it up into these little spools that I showed you. And then if they run out, they just tie the next one to each other. But in this case, they didn't. So I'm just going to have to work with this, and this is going to roll around. Great, wonderful. Yeah, so you can always tell when you have done this so many times. You can tell what companies make nice spools, the quality of yarn, all this and that. All right, but let me show you now how I do a switch color. It just tells you to tie a knot. That's great, but then you have little pieces that you have to cut off later. I'm going to try to minimize that. So what we're going to do is take your ring finger, pinky, and thumb, and we're going to hold the end like this. Then you're going to take your 2 fingers here, and we're going to hold apart the yarn like this. So keep this very tight, keep this very loose, just like we did in the beginning. You're going to take your 2 fingers, we're going to push this up, and we're going to turn it down to make this loop. And then we're going to take our index and middle finger, and we're going to pinch this feeder yarn through the loop, creating this large knot type situation. So we're just going to pull on this top piece here and push the knot closed. So keep pulling that top part here, and then we're trying to push the knot towards the thumb, minimizing the amount of excess yarn that we waste. Okay, so here's the little bit. If you tied it together, it would have been larger than this. And because I'm finding that there isn't enough yarn for these things, you definitely don't want to waste too much yarn just in case you need every possible centimeter. So let's pull on the feeder yarn like we did before, just to make a more manageable size loop. And once we do that, let's pick up our project. So we have our blank right needle, our full loaded stitched left needle. I'm going to slip the needle into this first stitch here. Okay, you can keep this rolled up just to make it taut. You don't want it to be loose. But what we're going to do now is we're going to slip this loop onto our right needle as if we were yarning over. You can make pretend we yarn over. And you want to do that snap. So pull it down till it gets trapped in between the two needles like this. And then we're going to slide the left needle over the right needle and back. And it's already attached to this right needle here. So I think I called this right. This is obviously the left. But it's attached to our right needle here already. So it pulled it through that loop. And then we can remove this loop off the left needle. And then now we can start using our yellow. But before we do that, I am going to tie a knot just to secure it. You don't want to lose, like, see how it's kind of getting stretched out. You want to tie your red to your yellow to make sure that it's secure and not creating a larger knot. And don't tie it too tight, okay? You just want to tie it enough to secure it, because you don't want to make that one stitch super tight to where you can't put a needle in it later. But I double knotted it. Let me grab my scissor. I'm just going to trim this little bit. All right, so I got my scissors. I'm going to trim off the red and a little bit of this yellow here. Like that. All right. Then I'm going to grab some of the yellow. I'm going to do one row with you guys. Oh, shoot. Hold on. I pulled a little too hard. And it can't. I pulled it too hard and it came off the needle. Ugh. All right, let me just fix this real quick. All right, so crisis averted. I just pulled it too tight and the knot like slipped off, so I just had to slip it back on. But yeah, let's do the first row together with you guys, and then I'm gonna go in silence, but it's not like I'm really showing you how to do anything really, but anyway. I guess I could talk to you while I'm doing this, but yeah, so we're just starting another row, and again, it's the same as what we've always been doing. Okay, so you just want to do each stitch, but now we're doing it with the yellow. Knit stitches all the way across. And actually, I can show you, I think after this row or the next, you're going to see what side is the prettier side, because when you change colors, there's going to be one row. I mean, the first row is going to show a weird thing, and you don't know what I'm talking about right now, but I'll show you once I think I turn this over. You'll be able to see it, or maybe after the next row. It's a little complicated. Like, I guess when you do these over and over again, it's really hard to pay attention to when these things happen. It just happens. I know when I'm doing the same stitch over and over again, which I love because it's nothing different. You just, I like to knit because I can watch a movie while I do this. There's not really much paying attention you have to do once you get it down. So let's see. Yeah, not here yet, but I'll do another row with you guys. I want to show you what it will look like so that you can identify which side is the prettier side, because some of these instructions will say fold your square so that the prettier side is inside. So you have to be able to identify which side is the good side and which side is the bad side, and you can probably figure that out once you see it, but I'm just going to show you in advance anyway so that when we get to that point, you'll know what side they're talking about. Yeah, so comment below, let me know if you like corn dogs. I just find them too sweet. I love cornbread. I love corn. Anything corn, but for some reason the cornbread, the corn around the hot dog, just it doesn't make me feel right. I've seen videos with Korean hot dogs where they add all this extra stuff on it. Maybe I'll like that because there's like flavor, but I'm not too sure. All right, so here's where you see it. So this side that we just finished, there's a row of yellow, but then there's a row of red. And then once we do the next row, it's going to go back to yellow. It's just the stitching, of course. It's the transition between red and yellow. But so this side, you can imagine, is going to be the not so prettier side. When we flip it over to do the next row, you see how there's no striping. It's just red and then yellow. This side is going to end up being the prettier side. So actually, let me just do one more row, give it some slack here so we can actually see a good little chunk of that transition on the other side. But yeah, so you'll be able, like I said before, even without changing colors, you'll be able to identify which side is going to be the prettier side, because for some reason, the prettier side is usually the side you start with. For some reason, even in crocheting, it's always going to look, the stitches are always going to look better for some reason. So let's just finish this up here. All right, flip to the other side. Yeah, so now you can clearly see, now that it's away from the needle, there's yellow, red, yellow. So, but what we're looking for at the end of this project is just seeing red and yellow. So now that we have identified this, I have to untangle this anyway. We are going to do this in silence. So you want to make your rectangle as long as the measurement says in the instructional booklet. So follow that. They also give you an approximate number of rows depending on how you knit. If you knit loose or tight, that will determine the number of rows you do. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how many rows you do, it's as long as you get to that measurement that they give you. So I'm going to pop in when I get to that measurement, and then we're going to move on to assembly. All right, so I probably did a little bit more than what they required. This is, you know, already long, even if I went a little over. But I'm going to show you guys how to fasten off. So, to fasten off, you first have to knit 2 stitches. So let's knit 2 right now. Here's 1, and here's 2. All right, so now you always have to have 2 stitches on your right needle, and then you can just whatever's on the left. What we're going to do is keep doing this till we have no more stitches on the left needle. So you want to pick up this stitch right here. So stick your left needle into that loop of this stitch. We're going to leapfrog it over this stitch like that, and then off the right needle. So maintain contact so you don't lose that stitch that was next to it, okay? So once you leapfrog it over that stitch, you can remove the left needle off of that loop. So let's knit another stitch, and then I'll show you how to do that again. So knit 1. Okay. So we have 2 stitches back on here. You're going to stick the left needle into this stitch here. We're going to leapfrog it over the next stitch, and then we're going to slip it off the right needle. Maintain contact so you don't lose that stitch there. And then you can slip that loop off the left needle like that. All right, let's do this one more time with you guys. So stick your needle, stick your needle. You know what to do here. Knit stitch. I almost went through that again. Right? So now you have 2 stitches on your right needle. We're going to grab this one right here and leapfrog it over the next one. We're going to pull this off the right needle. Maintain contact so you don't lose that other stitch. And then you're going to remove this loop off the left needle. So rewind that if you need to look back, but I'm just going to keep continuing this casting off until I get to the last loop on this needle here. All right, so I did all of them. We have the last loop here. What we're going to do is do a cast off this way. So you can do this with your right hand if you're ready, but I mean, it really shouldn't make a difference. I'm going to take this and yarn over like that. Then you're going to grab your needle and we're going to do the same thing we've been doing. We're going to take this loop and leapfrog it over the next. We're going to pull it off the right needle, pull it off the left needle. Here, we're going to start pulling the yarn all the way out. I mean, I guess you could have cut this, but I forgot to. So, but I'm just going to pull this all the way through because I don't have much left. Comment below. Let me know how much yarn you had left over, and for the life of me, what is going on here? Okay. Pull it all the way out so you're left with this. We're going to tighten up this loop by just pulling on the end piece here. And then we're good to go. So let me just, I don't know exactly what their intentions are, but what I'm going to do is leave some of this on. What I'm going to do is line up the yellow, and I'm going to double it in size. Okay, this is just so that it gives me a bit of yarn to work with, because they do give you this tail end, but look, if you sew this through the yellow, you're going to see the red, which doesn't make sense to me. So I'm going to use this yellow and leave a good amount in case I have to sew this part. So, but now we're going to move on to the assembly, and we're almost done. So basically we are going to fold this square in half, and again, like I said, it's going to want you to put the prettier side on the inside. So we're going to fold this in half like this, and we know it's the prettier side inside because this is the one with the stripes. So we have to sew around the edge. So like I said, you know, if you sew the red, maybe it'll hide, but look how bad it stands out if it doesn't hide all the way. So you have to sew it in the shape of a dome. So like I said, if you want like a dome in knitting, there's instructions that normally tell you you have to get special needles and you need 3 of them. But in this case, they just want you to sew it round, which makes life easier. It's just then you have these extra pieces on the side that I don't like. But this is as easy as it possibly can get. So, because those 3 needles, to do it that way, it's usually when you get those how to make a hat instruction for knitting, you're going to see it there. It just gets a lot of complicated with extra needles, as you can imagine. So at least we don't have to do that. All right, so I'm just going to imagine a dome shape for the hot dog, and I'm just going to do straight stitches around that. If you're having a hard time seeing, feel free to take like a wash off ink marker, what have you, and mark up the dome so you can see it. Here I'm just kind of gonna play it by ear and try to sew it into a dome without having to draw anything, only because I am not home. I'm on the road, as you can tell with this wonderful backdrop we have here and lighting. And I don't have a marker on me to do that kind of thing, but that definitely helps, especially if you're not good at sewing. I'm not good at sewing at all, so that would be so helpful. So I don't even know if this yarn is gonna make it. I should have maybe not even cut it, but I really, wasn't sure. I assumed, but not very well. So, but if I run out of yarn, I'm just going to tie the pieces together and continue sewing with the yellow. But now I'm on the sides, so maybe I will make it barely. Maybe not, actually. We'll see. But I'm just going to go do this real quick, actually. So I'm just doing the straight stitching, but I'm kind of doing it really quickly, going in and out of the sides and then pulling it like this. And we're just going to keep doing this all the way to the end of side here. I mean, I think this is, again, I did go over it by a little bit, but this looks like one of those real expensive hot dogs because this is fairly long. It's like, what, a foot long hot dog? Who sells that? Like Nathan's, something like that. Okay, so now that we're here at the end of the yellow, what I'm gonna do is tie a knot. I guess I shouldn't have pulled it out, but let's see, I can fix this. All right, I'm gonna go around a stitch and then tie a knot. Okay, then I'm going to grab my needle and we're going to do the red. So had I known that this was going to be the outcome, like I wouldn't have done this long tail, which would have allowed us to have at least one more row of the red. So those are things that I think sometimes the creators don't think about. Just because, you know, we don't want that red to show. So, but overall, I think these kits are really cute. I actually prefer knitting over crocheting only because I do a million things and I want to be able to do something that I don't have to watch. But since starting this part of the channel where I do kits like this, there is never a moment now that I can't just sit and knit, you know, while watching a movie. It's usually I have to be filming while doing it because there's just so many viewers that need my help, and I'm really happy to try to help you guys because you're paying some hard-earned money for these kits that you think you're getting a good bang for your buck, and then you open it up and you don't even know where to begin. So, you know, and I think, what is the age range on this kit? I think there's this like 8. Yeah, 8 and up. And sometimes that's not fair. Like, you know, as an adult, some can't get it going, and it's like, if you make these for 8-year-olds, what do you think they're gonna, you know? And sometimes I get comments from the younger folk, and I understand the frustration. But you know, I didn't create it, so it's like it's really hard for me to kind of, you know, try to help when everybody learns differently. So what might work here might not work for some people, and the instructions are all a mess, and it's at a point of giving up. And I always say, like, don't give up. Just take a moment, take a day, a month, a year, 5 years. You know, that's what I do, especially like with foods. Sometimes I feel like you know, I can't eat certain things and then as a kid, and then I'll revisit it years later and find that they're really yummy things. So never give up doing anything, you know, because I honestly think knitting is a great hobby. All right. Oh, and that's hilarious. I didn't leave a spot to... I was so busy helping you that I'm not. All right. That is my bad if you did that and you probably are telling me stop talking and pay attention. Well, that's fine. I'm just going to remove this knot. And then you have to have one side. If you read the instructions, it says to leave one side so that you can use it to stuff. Jeez Louise. Yeah. Any day now. Okay. All right. Okay, leave a gap for stuffing in exclamation marks. Thank you. So now what we're going to do next, I can imagine, is stuffing. Let's turn this page here. All right, so we're going to turn this inside out now so that we can stuff. So just like a sock, just take the inside and push it to the outside. Shape up that dome that you sewed. Okay, and then we're going to fill with stuffing. It looks like a little sock. It's kind of funny. All right. Now, I normally have my own stuffing. This is all they give you. I don't think it's going to be a really nice donut. Some of these kits are a miss. This one is a miss. But if you really wanted to, you can go to a hobby store or online and buy a good bag of stuffing, especially if you want to make more than one of these, and you can stuff it better. So if I were home, I would just add more stuffing that I have to make it look more like a corn dog, because right now it's looking like a really sad sock. Okay. So what they want you to do after this, and I'm just shaping this up as best I can, but they want you to stick the popsicle stick. I'm going to stuff it into the middle of this stuffing here. And then I'm going to take my needle. And then we just have to stitch this closed. So as you can imagine, I mean, if you had a hot glue gun, maybe do some sort of gluing in there, but as you can imagine, this isn't going, the popsicle stick is not going to stay. It's going to get pulled out. Because if you're just sewing around it, there's, you know, you're expecting that stitch to hold it. It's not going to hold it. So that's why, like, some of these kits, they're like, the idea is great, but the way they have it is just not. Oh, and they want you to sew in a circle. That's not happening. No, I'm going to try to sew it in a circle. How the heck are you going to do that? All right, I'm going to try to sew it in a circle. We have to make it look like a corn dog. I just don't think you're going to be able to achieve that the way they have this set up. Okay, I'm going to try to figure this out, but it's going to deal with a lot of folding, so you want to make it look like this essentially. Ideally, you want to sew the corners in so you can get kind of a dome. So I think maybe if we just squish the corner down like this and then sew it, because we kind of made this kind of tapered corner. Sewing in the popsicle stick, and then on this side we're going to bend the corner again, so bend it in and pinch it so it kind of has this tapered look, and then we're just going to continue sewing this, and then hopefully it just shapes up and looks like a dome on this side as well. But now I'm just going to take this opportunity to tie my knot. Okay, and then we're going to slip this into the project. We're going to come out randomly on the other side. Oh, and it already came off. So then that gets kind of tucked in here. If it's still looking like this, I guess you can just try again. Yeah, this is a bit rough, this one. It started out okay, and it's just not working out for me today. I don't know if it's just I'm tired on this trip. All right, this time it's in. You can play around with it to like hide that piece. You can cut it. But here is the corn dog. Okay, now we just have to stick the, this is a big corn dog. Now we just have to stick the facial features. So let's put on the mouth first. Okay, I'm just going to stick this here. You can give it like an extra pinch for a few seconds to make sure the surface is adhering to much of the adhesive is attaching to most of the surface of the corn dog. And then we're going to do the eyes. Right, and then you want to situate the eyes to the lashes angle that kind of works best for you. And again, pinch that closed for a few seconds. Make sure all that adhesive on the backing attaches to as much yarn as possible on the corn dog. And then we're going to do the other side, and you're going to want to try to make it as even as possible. And pinch it down. And then last but not least, we have this ketchup squiggle that we're going to peel off here. Okay, and then you're just going to lay this over the front of the body. And then again, push that down for a few seconds. Get all of that adhesive to stick to something on this corn dog. Then you can, you know, reshape your stuffing. And then here is our corn dog. So there you have it, you guys. the corn dog side by side. So comment below, let me know how it turned out. And again, let me just take this moment really quick to say that this is, you know, my pilot channel. I have an original. What I'm trying to do is split off the two things. I have crafts and nails. I'm trying to split it off so that there's, you know, you don't have to pay attention to too many things. But I am doing a giveaway in my original channel. You can go ahead and, you know, subscribe to the channel. There's a link in the description box below. I am doing a giveaway, and the giveaway is going to be some goodies, a gift card, and then an hour of a one-on-one to help you finish any projects or learn any parts of the knitting crocheting world that you might have difficulty with. And I'm only telling you guys about it just because I think it would benefit some of my viewers for that one-on-one. So it's just there if you'd like. I do hold giveaways for both craft viewers as well as my original nail viewers, but I don't think my craft viewers really pay attention too much to the other stuff that I post, so there's a lot of missed. I do have some craft viewers that end up winning the giveaways multiple times because there's not too many, so I thought I'd just share this on this channel. But eventually down the road, those videos, they're the same videos on both channels. I'm just gonna stop posting on that channel at some point, not anytime soon. I think I'm gonna wait for this channel to grow a little bit more because the original is more searchable. But yeah, so comment below, let me know what you think about anything, the corn dog or the giveaway. And thank you so much, you guys. So thank you for watching. This is Hooked on Needles and Crafts. Please share, like, and subscribe for future videos, and I'll see you again next time. Thanks.